Hello, my name is David McLeod, and I am your Life Mastery Coach, creator of The Magic of I Am, and host of the Daily Affirmation program. Welcome to this week's video message. All of us are born into this world in pretty much the same way. We have parents, a mother and father, who combine their DNA in a magical and wondrous way to allow the physical elements of our being to manifest on this physical plane. We all travel a difficult and treacherous journey to get ourselves here, to join the physical beings who are already here when we arrive. For most of us, the two people who are here for us after we complete the journey are our biological parents, the ones who actually conceived us. For some of us, it may be that we end up in the presence of other caregivers other than our biological parents. Aunts, uncles, grandparents, foster parents, adoptive parents, to name just a few of these. But regardless of how our initial journey ends, we all have people in our lives that we think of as our parents. And then our lives follow unique paths in which we experience all kinds of different things. Some joyful and pleasant, some painful or even physically damaging. As we go through all these experiences, we develop concepts and beliefs, defense mechanisms and coping strategies, attitudes and characteristics, not to mention a whole host of habits and practices. And at the same time, we collect memories and stories about our lives, and we begin to take on certain ideas about who we really are. For some of us, looking back on our past lives, we see a lot of beauty and magnificence. For some of us, we see only pain and suffering. And for the rest of us, we see some combination of both of these sides of the coin. Now, in my own case, I experienced the dichotomies of both pleasure and pain, beauty and suffering. Strangely, however, and I'm sure there's a biological reason for this, I noticed that I dwelled a lot on the pain and suffering in my life, probably more so than I appreciated the pleasure and the beauty. And as I did so, I found that I had a tendency to put the responsibility for that pain squarely on the shoulders of my parents. I did that for a large portion of my life, at least until I started doing my own personal deep healing work starting around 1995. And since then, I've released almost all of my resentment and anger, and I've come to a place of forgiveness. I now have a powerful feeling of gratitude for all the gifts that my mother and father brought to me in this world. I've also become aware of a spiritual teaching that says that each of us actually chooses our parents before we come here. And I realize that can be a difficult thing to believe, especially if you've been a victim of mistreatment or abuse. But it certainly resonates as true within me, and I've now come to believe that we make this choice as part of a larger spiritual agreement that is intended to help us all to experience whatever we believe we need to experience in order to evolve into the fullness of who we choose to be. The more work I do in healing my own past, the more I can recognize and appreciate the gifts that have come to me from every interaction or experience I've ever had. But of course, the most formative of those experiences happened at the hands of those people I refer to as my parents. And I chose them before I even came here because I knew that they would lead me through experiences that would bring me to where I am today. It's much easier for me to be compassionate with my parents today than it was when I was maybe 20 or 30 years younger. My compassion and forgiveness now lead me to understand that they were doing the very best they could with the gifts that they had in their possession at the time. This week, I encourage you to spend time looking for the gifts your parents brought to you. If you can, I also encourage you to forgive them for any trespasses they may have done unto you, and in so doing, you will free yourself from a large part of the suffering that might exist in your life. Remember, no matter what your life may have looked like in the past, you would not be who you are today without those experiences. May you have a serene and forgiving week.